we begin by finding out the latest team news, and in particular, what's the latest with Gary Deegan and James McPake?
Yeah, well, both of them have come through training sessions this week, and no real reaction yet to that. So we're fairly hopeful that it'll be both available for the squad for Saturday.
On the topic of training, the team prepared here at Easter Road, didn't they, earlier on in the week? What was the reasoning behind that?
It's just the training centre is frozen solid, to be honest, over the last few days. So it's we needed to get some work done, particularly with Gary and James back in the fold. So we used Easter Road yesterday. It was fantastic, and to be able to get out on the pitch, obviously. We did a training session on Monday, but it was difficult to do that since then. So no, we're delighted to be able to use here. It's a fantastic facility to be able to come back here and train.
How frustrating, though, was it that the under-20s match was called off because of a frozen pitch here? And obviously, what does that mean to Gary Deegan in terms of where he is fitness-wise? Yeah,
it's disappointing from that point of view. Plus, the under-20s are on a little bit of a decent roll at the moment, so we're liking the play Celtic. But the biggest aspect for us was obviously getting Gary some game time into his legs. He hasn't had that, but he's had, he's been back training, 10 days maybe with the group, so he's done a lot of work. But you still want to get some game practice in that he gets back used to the tempo, but he's chomping at the bit to play. It would have helped in obviously bringing him on a little bit more, but there's nothing we can do about it, I suppose.
Has it been difficult to try and rein him in at times, because he is such a competitive individual and he's just got that hunger to play, hasn't he?
Yeah, he just wants to play all the time, Harry. He's demanding of himself and he's demanding of people around him, so we need that as well, because we've missed that. And like I said, he brings that to training sessions as well, where he demands from people, and he doesn't shirk on, which is fantastic. And like you say, we've got to control him now to make sure that we get him back into the team over a period of time, I suppose.
Was it a massive dilemma with James McPake, because he is such an influential and important member of the squad, because obviously you didn't want to risk a recurrence of the back problem?
I think it's difficult with James over the last few weeks, because he's been very, very close to playing. He's trained in that period of time of 4 or 5 weeks. He's been out, but he's done training sessions some of the weeks, and then has just felt the spasm stiffen up again. So we've just been careful with him, to be honest, because he is a big player for us, and like them all, I suppose, we're not going to risk anybody in that situation. So I think it was important that we got him right. He's had good training sessions this week. He's done a lot of extra physical work with Frank as well, doing a lot of core work in relation to strengthening himself. So now we're delighted that he's back available, because he's a massive character within the dressing room as well as everything else.
Briefly, if we can, just rewind to what happened up in the Highlands. It obviously didn't go according to plan, and we conceded 3 relatively soft goals overall. Bad day at the office, but what can we take from that, and how can we put it right?
Well, we've obviously, you look at defeats and wins and try to take the positives and negatives out, and we looked at the game. We set the players through it on Monday, and we had a discussion on it, and just the goals that we gave up disappointed us. I don't know, there was massive difference in the teams on the day. There wasn't a lot of saves for either goalkeeper to make, but we're just disappointed that we didn't show the desire and the hunger that we're showing at home to stop goals going in, and that's something that we've got to rectify. I don't think there's a lot wrong, but if you look at the goals in Inverness, we let balls into our box too easy, and then we didn't pick up when we were in there. So it's not something that's it can be fixed, and we're working hard to do that. But we've got to make sure in games like Inverness that if we're not at our top form, that we don't lose. If we don't go there and we haven't played well enough to win it, I think the important thing is that we pick something up away from games like that.
Just focusing now on Motherwell, if we can. They pose a different threat to Inverness, who are quite big, direct, physical. Motherwell, it's all about the pace, isn't it? Especially in the width that they've got. Every time we play them, it's always a close run thing, despite the fact we won 4-0. That perhaps wasn't a fair reflection of the game itself. How are we going to approach this one?
Yeah, well, I think with Motherwell, the team doesn't really change too often. Like you said, they've got 2 really good wide players and experience through the centre of the team, so they're a danger. They've gone to Inverness a few weeks ago and won easy as well, so we know we're going to be in for a tough afternoon. But again, we'll prepare properly. We have done that this week and again tomorrow, and we'll have a game plan that we hope will be able to pick us up the 3 points. But we've got to make sure we get to the levels of the commitment that we have been at. I think that's the key to a lot of the games. And then hopefully that the bit of individual flair that we have will help us win the game.
People often talk about home advantage. That's certainly been the case here. It's been a remarkable transformation. How would you evaluate the role that the crowd play in terms of helping us to get good results at home?
I think you can't underestimate it, because the positivity coming from the stands is fantastic, and that does rub off on the players, you know. And I've said this previously as well, and at certain times of games where we are maybe under a little bit of pressure and under the cosh, the supporters have realised that and have rallied around us and tried to get us through that. So, but I think they know as well what they're getting on the park from the players is total commitment and effort to win the game, you know. So we're slowly bringing numbers back into the ground as well, which is fantastic. And obviously the last game we had here against Hearts was a special day for the supporters. So that's all positive in relation to what the supporters are doing. I think for the club they've been tremendous.